It sounds dramatic when you put it that way. Moral immune system. But let's ground this. We have a case here that reads like a crime thriller, but it's actually an HR grievance. We have smuggling, we have cover-ups, and we have a sandwich?
A sandwich, exactly. Or a passenger meal, to be precise. And that meal is the pivot point of this whole story. It is the control group in an experiment about fairness. So here is the setup. You have an institution, let's call it the airline, where the rules are supposed to be absolute. Safety, security, integrity. These are not optional in aviation. If you or I mess up at a bank, money is lost. If you mess up in aviation, people die. So the standard is high.
Right? High stakes, high discipline.
Theoretically. But the documents we have describe a situation that is essentially feudal. It alleges that there are lords and there are peasants. The peasants get executed for stealing a loaf of bread, while the lords are allowed to loot the treasury.
Okay, let's get into the specifics. What exactly happened? Because the text mentions some very specific numbers. 54 bottles?
54 bottles of liquor. That is not a mistake. That is not, oops, I bought an extra bottle at duty free. That is inventory. That is a commercial quantity. The allegation is that top-tier security personnel, the very people hired to stop smuggling, were the ones doing the smuggling. We are talking about 54 bottles arriving in a container, bypassing the usual checks.
Wait, just pause there. Security personnel?
The top two guys of security, according to the source. And this is where it gets cinematic. The text describes a scene where one of the individuals, named Heiyanthuduwa, allegedly realizes the game is up. The goods are about to be confiscated or checked. And what does he do? He doesn't stand his ground. He escapes the customs area. He literally runs away.
So they are trying to move this massive stash of alcohol. And the text mentions a vehicle, right? It was very specific.
Incredibly specific. And that's what makes this account so damaging. It's not vague gossip. It names a Nissan Sunny FB15, license plate HB4848. It alleges the bottles were cleared, brought near the pass office, kept outside, and then loaded into this private vehicle belonging to a security supervisor. It paints a picture of a coordinated operation. This wasn't one guy slipping a bottle into his jacket. This was logistics.
It's the detail that gets me. When you have license plate numbers, it stops being a complaint and starts being evidence. But let's go back to the peasant side of this equation. You mentioned a meal earlier.
This is the heartbeat of the injustice. While the top guys are allegedly moving 54 bottles of liquor using private cars and bypassing customs, there was another employee, a regular staff member, who was sacked, terminated, fired.
For what?
For eating an offloaded passenger meal at catering.
You have to be kidding me.
I wish I was. This is the contrast that the whistleblower is screaming about. One man loses his livelihood, his career, his ability to feed his family, because he ate a leftover meal that was likely going to be thrown away or was just sitting there. That is the harshest penalty for a limited infraction. Meanwhile, the people moving cases of alcohol, they are protected, they are covered up.
That is, it's actually infuriating to listen to. It's the Jean Valjean story. 5 years for stealing bread.
It is exactly that. And the whistleblower quotes Adam Smith here, which I think is brilliant. Mercy to the guilty is cruelty to the innocent. Think about that. When you let the big guy go, you aren't just being nice or merciful. You are actively being cruel to the guy who followed the rules. You are telling every honest employee, your integrity is a weakness. You are a fool for following the law.
It destroys morale. I mean, why would I follow the rules if I see my boss breaking them and getting a promotion?
Precisely. The text mentions that this isn't just about one incident. It's about a culture where internal alignments matter more than the law. If you are friends with the right people in HR, if you have proximity to power, you are untouchable. The whistleblower mentions Angela Jackson and Sugitha de Silva in the duty room. People getting confused, taking pictures, trying to figure out what to do. It sounds like chaos. It sounds like people trying to do their jobs, but hitting a wall of political protection.
And the whistleblower isn't staying quiet. This text is incredibly aggressive, isn't it? It doesn't sound like a standard complaint letter. It sounds like a declaration of war.
It is a declaration of war. The tone is fascinating. It fluctuates between desperate pleading for justice and absolute cold threat. This is not a threat, but a necessity. They are saying, I will take this to the Civil Aviation Authority, CAA. I will take this to the Human Rights Commission. I will go to the highest courts in Sri Lanka.
They even mention that the taxpayers' money is being wasted.
Yes, and that raises the stakes. This isn't a private club. It's a national entity. The public pays for this. And the writer is saying, I have the receipts. They are demanding the preservation of CCTV footage, arrivals corridor, green channel, customs inspection points. That is a very dangerous demand for the people trying to cover this up. Because if that footage exists, and if it is preserved, the game is over.
It feels like the writer has been pushed too far. There's a line where they say, your integrity is not accepted anymore. That is a heavy thing to say to a superior.
It's the sound of authority collapsing. Authority relies on respect. Once the staff realizes that the boss is a crook, the boss is no longer a boss. He's just a bully with a title. The writer mentions blocking a promotion for 4 years. Kosala. It shows there is a long history of infighting here. This isn't a sudden event. It's a boiling point.
Let's talk about the role of HR here, because usually HR is supposed to be the mediator. They are supposed to be the ones who say, hey, rules are rules. But here, HR seems to be the villain.
HR is described as the central decision-making authority that has failed. The text says, if uneven enforcement exists, it is not merely a management issue, it is a governance issue. That is a profound distinction. Management is about efficiency. Governance is about legitimacy. If HR protects the liquor smugglers but fires the meal eater, they haven't just made a mistake. They have invalidated their own right to govern. They have created a barbaric environment, to use the writer's words.
Barbaric environment. That's strong.
It fits, though. In a civilized system, the law is king. In a barbaric system, the strong do what they want, and the weak suffer what they must. If the top 2 guys of security can sell alcohol, which implies a side business, a black market operation inside the airport, then security itself is a joke. How can you trust them to stop a bomb or a drug shipment if they are using the same channels to move their own contraband?
And yet the writer says, why cover up for large quantities of liquor? It seems like the instinct of the leadership is to hush it up rather than clean it up.
The cover-up is always the instinct of a weak culture. They think, if we hide this, the reputation is saved. But the paradox is, by hiding it, they destroy the reputation permanently. The writer says, silence protects no one in the long term. And they are right. You can hide the bottles, but you can't hide the smell. Everyone knows. The staff knows. And now, thanks to this leak, we know.
I want to circle back to the emotional toll. The writer says, I am looking forward it will not happen this time, as we have a humble and a more disciplined group head of human resources. There is a tiny sliver of hope there.
It's a challenge, isn't it? It's a test for the new group head. The writer is saying, okay, you're new. You claim to be disciplined. Prove it. It's putting the ball squarely in HR's court. It's saying, are you going to be like the others? Or are you going to finally apply the rules? But then it immediately pivots back to the threat. If not properly applied, the case is going further up for a major blast.
Major blast. They aren't mincing words.
No. And notice the personal attack at the end. Hey, the master, it's a disgrace, isn't it? And you should be ashamed to show your face. This is deeply personal. This isn't just professional negligence. This is personal betrayal. The writer feels that these leaders walk around with their heads held high, pretending to be dignified, while everyone knows what they did. Frankly, you lack the moral standing to walk among us. That cuts deep.
It really does. It reminds me of that feeling when you realize your parents aren't perfect, but multiplied by 1,000. It's the realization that the people in charge are actually less moral than the people they command.
And that is when a hierarchy collapses. You can lead people who are smarter than you. You can lead people who are more skilled than you. But you cannot lead people who are more moral than you. Once the workforce looks down on the leadership ethically, the leadership is finished. They just don't know it yet.
So what happens next in a situation like this? We have the threat of the courts, the preservation of evidence. If you were the group head of HR reading this, what goes through your mind?
Panic. Absolute panic. Because this letter has specific details. It has the license plate. It has the names. It mentions the duty room. It mentions Angela Jackson taking pictures. These are verifiable facts. If I'm the head of HR, I know I can't sweep this under the rug because the rug has been pulled away. I have two choices. I either launch a scorching earth investigation, fire the security chiefs, and apologize to the staff, or I try to fight the whistleblower.
And fighting the whistleblower usually ends badly in the digital age.
It ends terribly because the whistleblower clearly has more information. Stay tuned, more to come. That is the sign-off. That is a cliffhanger. They are holding back cards. If the institution attacks, the whistleblower releases the photos or the video.
It's a game of chicken.
And the institution is driving a bus with no brakes. The writer mentions that over the past 10 to 12 years, multiple cases have raised concerns. This is a recurring pattern. That suggests systemic rot. If an independent inquiry actually happens, like the writer is demanding, it won't just find the liquor bottles. It will find 10 years of skeletons.
It makes you think about the concept of accountability paralyzing the airline. That's the title the user gave us. Does accountability paralyze, or does the lack of it paralyze?
That's the irony. The title says accountability can paralyze, but the text argues the opposite. It argues that selective accountability paralyzes. When you punish the small guy and let the big guy go, everyone freezes. No one takes initiative because they are afraid. No one reports problems because they think it's useless. The organization enters a state of paralysis because trust is the lubricant of efficiency. Without trust, the gears grind to a halt.
It's the Nissan Sunny detail that I can't get out of my head. It's so mundane. A Nissan Sunny. It's not a getaway helicopter, it's a family sedan. It makes the corruption feel so cheap.
Corruption is usually cheap. We imagine it as sophisticated, but usually it's just greedy people stuffing things into a car trunk. But the cost is expensive. The cost is the reputation of a national airline. The cost is the career of the guy who ate the meal. The cost is the safety of the passengers. That's the tragedy here. They sold the institution's soul for 54 bottles of booze.
When you put it like that, it's pathetic.
It is, and the writer knows it. That's why there is so much anger. It's not just anger at the theft, it's anger at the cheapness of it. You destroyed our culture for this.
So, wrapping this up, we are looking at a snapshot of a crisis. We have a demand for equal standards, transparent processes, documented accountability. It sounds simple.
It is simple, but it is hard. Because fairness requires courage. It requires a leader to look at their friend, their colleague, their top security guy, and say, "You broke the rules. You are out." Most people don't have that courage. They prefer the easy way of the cover-up. But as this document shows, the easy way eventually becomes the impossible way.
Mercy to the guilty is cruelty to the innocent. I think that's going to stick with me.
It should. It's the lesson of the day. If you want a strong team, you have to protect the innocent. And sometimes protecting the innocent means you have to be ruthless with the guilty. There is no middle ground.
A sobering thought for anyone in management listening today. If you have a Nissan Sunny situation in your company, deal with it before it deals with you.
Absolutely, because eventually someone will write the letter, and eventually the world will know.
We'll be watching to see if that major blast happens. Until next time.
Stay tuned. More news to come. Thank you.